Good evening. This is a special meeting of the Groton Board of Education being held on Monday, March 30th at 6 o'clock at Fitch High School Media Center. In attendance in person tonight, we have Michael Whitney, Dr. Mike Whitney. We have Jen White, Adrian Johnson, Ian Thomas, and myself, Bev Washington. We have Sam Kilpatrick and Susan Austin, superintendent. We have Dr. Anne Marie Mancini in the back and Shannon Weigel. Okay. And the strange lady, Tomarita Hart. The assistant principal of the high school. Okay. And online, did I get him back? And Dr. Clint Kennedy over there in the corner. And online we have Dr. Andrea Ackerman and we have Mitch Shimbrock. So the first item on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding approval of the final plans, project manuals, and professional cost estimate for Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Project. It's attachment 1A, 1B was online, and 1C. Jen, can you make that motion for me? It's long.
Make motion to approve the final plans and projected manuals as prepared for bidding and dated March 2nd, 2026, and the professional cost estimate completed in accordance with level 3 of ASTM International Standard E1557, standard classification of building elements and related site work at Uniformat 2 for Charles Barnum Roof Replacement Project dated March 2nd, 2026.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Mike? Okay. I'll turn it over to the
Okay,
superintendent.
we have a special guest online, Tanya, who is from the Silver Petricelli architectural firm, and they were the ones who first did these plans, so she's revised and updated it. And Tanya, could you fill in the board on, I was thrilled that the price came in as it did. So if you could just explain to us what the process is and what we do next.
Sure. So we had developed these construction documents to re-roof the Charles Barnum School. And this is the process of the grant from the state. So you have been given you've been granted the monies to do the project. You have a grant number. So we had to update the drawings to include the state grant number and kind of review it again, just to make sure everything was good, along with the project manual, which are the specifications for the project, and the estimate. So those are the 3 things that you just voted on and that were circulated to all of you for your review. And the next step is to have a PCR, which is a pre-plan review with the state to go over the particulars of the project and any questions that the state might have in regards to the specifications and the scope of work before you can go out to bid. And once they they give us their blessing, then we will be able to put the project out to bid and hopefully get this work done this summer. We currently have a meeting with the state scheduled for April 22nd, I want to say. We worked on that today. So that is moving forward. And I have the drawings and specifications and the estimate. I can pull them up if anyone wants a visual or has any questions about the project.
Any questions? Jen?
Hi, thank you, Tanya, for attending our meeting. After the meeting with the state, if it is approved, like how, what are the next steps after that?
We would be putting the project out to bid.
Okay.
So the town would have to advertise and then select a date that we would have a walkthrough of the project. We will attend that and explain the project if any of the contractors who show up for the walkthrough or see the advertisement and have any questions, they have time period where we can answer questions. And then the bid will be due on a certain date. That will be a public opening, and then we will review the qualified contractors with you, and you will select someone for the project, and you will go through the process of the contract award with them. And set up a schedule for work.
And how long would that normally take? Like, would you say that would be like a 3-week process, 4-week? I know it's hard to tell. I'm not committing you to anything, but on average, what you've seen.
Well, I know your goal is to try to have this work done this summer.
Correct.
So it's getting a little tight because, you know, like you, like a lot of schools in the state of Connecticut, everyone wants to do their roof projects during the summer. So putting this, I mean, best case scenario, if we have a review on the 22nd, usually there's some questions that need answering and maybe we can get approvals by the end of the month and we can put it out to bid, say May, get them back early June. So hopefully you could have, you know, a time period where they would be able to start construction when school is out at the end of June. Sam, I don't know if you want to add anything to that with your experience. No.
No, thanks.
It seems very tight. And then like usually like a project this size, approximately how long would that take? Like the removal. So let's say everything is a go by July, would it be able to be completed like within a 2-month period so that everything's in place before school starts, or is there?
That would be the goal, but you could have a situation where they're working into, you know, the occupied time frame of school being back in session in September. It all kind of hinges on the state and their decision to allow you to go out to bid.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sorry, I can't be more specific.
No, I'm just, you know, having my first go around with a roof replacement, you know, on the Board of Ed. I was just trying to get a timeline in my head, so thank you for that.
Mitch, you have a question? Mitch? I have a question. What is Plan B? If you can't do it in the summer because you can't find a contractor, what would Plan B look like?
Plan B would be, I suppose, that you could put it out to bid again if you don't have a lot of interest. That's one option. Or if the timing isn't right, you could push the work till
Yes.
the fall. I'm sorry, Mitch, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My question is, are you removing material from the roof before you put the new roofing material on?
Yes, there's a demolition process and then the new roofing and insulation. Well, the insulation and then the roofing and any repairs that would need to be made would happen.
Okay, is the new material going to be heavier than the old material? And has anyone looked at that from a structural standpoint?
We had, that was part of our design process when we initiated this project back in 24. I believe it was.
Okay. And my other question is, the grant that we got is going to cover the cost of this whole job. Is that right?
The grant, well, it's a percentage. I'm not quite sure what your reimbursement rate was. I believe that was in the grant letter. Susan, I don't know if you have that in front of you.
I thought it was around right under 60%.
Yeah, I want to say 58 point something percent.
Yeah, yeah.
How much is that in dollars?
It's roughly,
Well, the estimate was just under $1 million, so.
it was just over 500,000.
The CIP was for about $1 million, right? So just under $1 million.
It was 54,
So-
56%. It changes with each project. The state determines based on what project you're doing. So it's, we don't always get the same reimbursement rate. In this particular instance, we were in the 54 or 56% reimbursement rate.
So they'll reimburse us approximately $500,000 and then we pay the rest.
That's correct.
Smith, can I ask one more question?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do we have this in the budget to pay for the rest, or is this going to be something coming that we're going to ask the town for? Sounds like a lot of money.
It's in a CIP, Mitch, for the full
Okay.
amount. And then with the reimbursement, the town won't have to pay the full amount. They'll pay nearly half of it, or little over a half.
Okay, thank you.
Adrian?
Yeah, so if we do run tight on getting the project done in this coming summer, is there a date that the state puts on this that we have to either commence or complete the work by?
2 years
2 years?
from the time of award, I believe this.
If we can't get the project during the summer, I would not recommend if we don't have the time to do the full project this summer, I would not recommend doing it during the summer because this particular school, the ceilings are very low. And it would be very loud and distracting for elementary kids. I've done roofs during school sessions, however, it's a different type of structure. Those buildings were a different type of structure where there was enough space above the ceiling that the noise that they were making up above wouldn't transfer into the classroom, but this is pretty close and tight, so I wouldn't recommend it.
All right, so but the funding will still be available for the summer of 27 if in an unideal situation we're pushed out.
Can I just ask them a question about it?
Go ahead.
Would we need to so it's approved for 2 years, so we don't need to reapply, so there's no potential for a delay again.
Right.
Once the bid comes in, we accept the bid.
Yep.
Only if there were a problem with the contractor later down the road.
Okay. Thank you.
And I can't have you finished yet?
Yep.
Okay, I can't remember, did the town council approve the CIP already?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that good. So
A
that's
few
it.
years ago.
All right, good. Any other questions?
Good.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving the motion that Jen read? Say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? It passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to 0 to 0. All right, the next item is follow-up of the robotics manufacturing.
I'm
So
going to excuse myself if you don't need me any further.
Thank you very much, Tanya.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Tanya. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I
Have a
apologize.
good
for
evening.
not
No
saying
worries.
that.
Bye-bye.
So I think before we discuss it, we should just go over, take a look at the area and then come back to them. Is that a good
We
plan?
have Lori online. I don't know if she wanted to share what she has,
Oh, yeah.
and then
Where-
we can do that. Lori Ferguson,
Hi, everybody.
she can show you the kind of plan and
Oh,
you can
that's
ask questions, and then we can go walk. Would that be all right?
That's fine with me.
Okay. All right. So Lori,
Okay.
Lori has been our project manager for the machine shop, auto shop turned machine shop. And always in the vision was to have EB's partnership in getting more machines in so that that center could really help with workforce development. The dream, of course, is Department of Robotics, Engineering, Architecture, Manufacturing, and Machining. So looking at classes by day in both robotics and machining and engineering, we already have some of these courses and we'll add to that so that our students by day will be able to take these courses and continue with our outstanding robotics team in the evening, afternoon. So she has a blueprint, and Lori Ferguson did this work in Coventry, Rhode Island, working side by side with Electric Boat. So she has a lot of experience as a CTE director and department chair. And now in her retirement, she's choosing to work on these projects with others. So
And there's a lot of machine shops going up
yes, I
as
know.
Electric Boat expands its workforce. I don't know why you can't see me. I hate not having my camera on, but I just want you to know it's not me.
You know why, Clint?
I couldn't click on anything. I could click on the mute, but do you have the
Turn
updated
it down a little bit.
blueprint?
Yes, we've got it in front of us.
Okay.
Put it up.
So, I really did a big redesign, I think, on this blueprint compared to our space previously, because we're not purchasing two machines until at least 2 years out. And so I wanted to make sure that the space had enough room for the robotics equipment, which is around it's kind of like an L shape there. And the robotics equipment is labeled robotics. So you'll see robotics, CNC.
Lori, can you put the blueprint up on, can you share it?
I can't seem to do much over here.
Can you share it, Clint? I'll share it. Okay. We're gonna try to share it. so everybody
Okay,
can see it.
I can try, yeah, oh, let me try my video here. There it is. Okay, let me see if I can share. Do you have it or do you want me to share it?
I just stopped sharing. Go for it.
Does
And
he
now
want-
we can see you, Lori.
Oh,
Magic.
hi, everybody. Does he want me to share it or is he going?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, can you make it any bigger,
I'm
maybe?
gonna try. Let's see. Oh, it went away. Hold on. I'm not sure if I can make it bigger.
That's kind of what we have.
Hmm?
Computer screen looks fine, it's tough. You guys have it bigger.
Yeah.
What is he saying?
It's as good as it's gonna get.
It's
As good as it's gonna get. Okay, if you can follow my cursor, the light blue is equipment. So if you start from the hallway that's right underneath the updated blueprint sign, you'll see along this wall and on the corner and then down up to the second to the last machine there. Those are the current robotics machines that are there. Those are the ones that came in, I think in November, and they've always been included in our design. In the middle is the new equipment that we are purchasing. The very large machine is the CNC lathe. The one in front of it is the CNC mill. Those are the Hercos. And remember, all of the machinery that we're purchasing aligns with Electric Boat's machines that they use in their shops, in their facility, and then in some local supply shops. So the skills that our students are going to earn and learn are relevant and aligned to what Electric Boat employees are using. And we have two big CNCs here, and then we have three manual machines. Actually, two manual machines, right? Three manuals right here. I can't even see it myself. I think these are the Ganesh manual mills. And these are very big machines compared to, like, if you are familiar with a manual drill press, they're like 2 or 3 times larger than that in width and in depth. The black items are our toolboxes that flow around the space so that students and teacher can work nicely when they're on machines. The machines are labeled so that you can see that this is the front of the machine, so students can safely work. They're specifically designed to be on an angle so that students aren't next to one another and aren't bumping into any kind of steel or any kind of machinery that they're working on, material that they're working on. And so these three Ganeshes are all on the angle, as is the robotics equipment. As you notice, we have it safely distanced from the middle machine. So all of the machines have been designed with at least 3 feet from either side of safety distance. The blue table there is just a work table that students or teacher, anyone can work on right there. And then this green line is the site that the fire department wanted to make sure that we had egress from door to door. And so that arrow is there, that line, dotted line is there for you to see that we have that space. And on the other side, which currently the robotics team has a lot of their storage and work tables in this space. This will again have work tables here, just be a little bit more organized so that the flow is easier for students to move around and to work on different. Remember, you're not going to have all students working on one particular machine or even working on one skill at the same time. If you have, you can have up to 18 students in this shop with one teacher safely, and all of them will be working at different levels in different areas and on different machines. So just to get a picture of that, you might have students working mostly at the work tables and along here at the work bench here. This is a long cabinet that has a workbench on top. They can put tabletop machinery there, tabletop saws, and this will be some work station here. And so students can move safely around. Here we have the surface grinder. And oh my God, I cannot actually, I gotta try and pull this up myself. I cannot see it,
I can't even read
what
it.
I've labeled it. It has to be, oh, it's the 240 40 inch lathes. These first two machines are the manual lathes, Ganesh manual lathes, and this bigger square is the surface grinder. Then you have the air compressor in this dotted area here. That's the air compressor area. And then here is the metrology station. So that's where students will go and measure their equipment and make sure it's flat. And then in these two are the band saws, horizontal bandsaw, I believe, and maybe a vertical, because I can't see it. And then again, another work table. These are larger, 60 inches. The others are 48 inches. And tool boxes, those metal tool chests that are mobile that can go around the shop. So up in front, you'll see this oval. This is the sink that's currently there, and we know that at least it has water. It's nothing that we need. We're not going to need a sink for anything, but it always comes in handy because you might have, just students who want to wash their hands. To the left of that is the tool cage that we would like to create, and that's also highlighted in this broken line. And that will house some shelves in there, and it will hold all of like the hand tools and smaller tools and equipment that you might not have on the floor. So this space is designed to easily have students at these workbenches doing, theory work. The teacher would be teaching probably up in this area. And this is the way we've done it in Coventry, and this is the way I know they do it at the machine shop at Davies State School in Lincoln, Rhode Island. And you want a flexible space because this kind of learning, of course, as you know, is done on the spot. It's done, through demonstrations. It's done through hands-on learning. And so you want to be able to move your tables. You want to be able to move your monitor or move your toolbox to places that you need to be. And so I think this space and these dotted lines are just to give you a peripheral a vision of the safety area around each of the machines. So, because they, they all have their specifications for safety. And so I've included all of that in this design. The teacher is going to want to come in and will naturally, fix this space the way he or she teaches and the way he or she is going to set up their shop. What doesn't move, of course, are the machines. The smaller machines are mobile. They can be moved, but they are heavy. This middle ground, we're going to have to, finalize this before the machines come in, because once these big machines come in, that they're going to be there. These smaller ones can be moved. We've moved them actually in Coventry because we had to paint the floor after the machines came in. And so the Ganeshas were easily moved, but of course the big CNCs, that's it, they're in. These smaller machines would be able to be moved easily. So down in front, you'll see the 3 bay garage doors. That is the side that faces the parking lot. And then we have a double door there to get into the space. So I think it looks clean. It looks, it's safe. There's a lot of room right now for people to work and move around. And I think right now it's a really good space. Now, if you wanted to get, an additional CNC here, these 3 Ganeshas could actually be moved down or up to put that machine in. I would recommend that these 3 machines get moved up, and then we house that second CNC. Easy entrance in from the bay door, and then have it plop right here. So,
Now, can I ask a question, Lori?
of
All of these
course,
machines that we're purchasing with the grant or the funding, are they all for using on metal machines? Or are
yes,
they wood?
this is a metal shop. Everything is for metal. You can't really have wood in here because then you have sawdust and that mixes in with the metal. It's not conducive to that. In any shop that I've been in for teaching and learning, it has not been a mixed area.
And I remember learning that earlier on. Now, the robotics team equipment is mostly metal, but there are a couple things that are for wood. Is that right?
I think some of the saws are for wood. She's got a band saw here, a drop saw. Not sure about the routers, those CNC router. I'm not sure if it's for wood or for metal.
Okay, we'll have to ask them. But I know that they've been using the wood shop. A lot of their
Yes.
things have been moved down to the wood shop. And I know Chris Jenkins, who's one of the coaches, has said he's had to go, and it's quite a stretch when you're trying to go from one end of the building to the other. I know that they've said they'd really rather be in one space.
Right,
Um,
right.
But there is a dilemma between the wood and the metal, so we can't really put
Yes,
them in the
yes.
same space. So
I also just want to make note, this very large CNC lathe. It is that large because that is the working space of this machine. So it's probably like a foot or so less in around in width and length. But I wanted to put in the full size of what the working space is. So we realize that that space is restricted to that machine. So even though the machine might be a little bit smaller, that space has to be a certain size for working.
right, and safety probably.
Yes, exactly.
Mitch, you have a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hi,
Yes.
Mitch.
Hi, I have a couple of questions.
Okay, I hope I can answer them, Mitch.
Well, we'll do the best you can, and
I will.
and I know you will. One of them is EB paying for this equipment or some of it?
Good question, Mitch. All of the equipment in this new space is grant funded or partner funded. So yes, Electric Boat is contributing towards the equipment. And the largest, they are contributing the largest funding source towards the equipment. So all of this equipment you see in the middle, all of these new big CNCs and these Ganesh manuals, those are all through Electric Boat, as
And the
well
Navy
as,
Maritime, the Naval Maritime Group also is part of it. I have
yes,
written that
Okay.
on there. Yeah.
and two other machines here. So they have a large chunk of this. And then, of course, you have your Department of Defense funds that are also contributing to that. So because of the nature of the program and the nature of the workforce, we're fortunate to have some federal funding.
Okay,
That's the
that,
closing out of a career pathway grant from DODEA. And the grant closes in May, and we were fortunate to have some excess funding that works for career pathways because this is directly related.
okay, I think that's all good. I'm very impressed. You mentioned toolboxes. I assume they're going to contain tools. And are the toolboxes and the tools also covered under this?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That was
Yep.
also part of the DODEA funding.
Okay. And you mentioned hand tools, and I saw where what your plan is to put them in a certain area. Are those going to be locked up?
Yes, everything locks. All of the tool chest lock, the tool crib locks, everything locks. Believe me, when you have kids, you have to lock everything up.
Well,
That's
others
why I
will
was
come through.
asking. Also, what about PPE?
Yep, that will all be in a locked area. That's all been purchased and will all be in a cabinet.
Okay, so for the PPE, I'm talking about safety glasses, hard
Mhm.
hats,
Yep.
hearing protection.
Yep, not
Um,
hard hats. You don't need hard hats in this area. You need safety glasses and you need earplugs.
Okay, what
You can
about
have aprons. We've
and-
purchased aprons and we've purchased gloves.
okay, what about footwear? Because I can anticipate metal shavings on the floor and things like that.
That's part of what students have to wear. That's part of, they have to wear a work boot.
Okay,
No sneakers are allowed.
okay, good. You've kind of covered everything I was thinking of with regard to that. And um, the trash that you're going to have out of this metal filings and shavings. I've seen all kinds of things because I worked at EB for a heck of a long time. Okay. And are those going to require any kind of special handling?
No, they don't. You have your work gloves and they all get put in one big trash. If you're lucky to have someone that you can, like in Coventry, we worked with our metal scrap company, and every, few months they came and picked up some scrap from us if we had it. And, we traded that in for some cash.
Okay. And as far you mentioned an air compressor,
Yes.
what pressure is that putting out? Because that can be dangerous at certain pressures.
Well, there currently is an air compressor in the shop. We are replacing that. These don't take a lot of air pressure. We're not using a lot of air pressure for this. It's a relatively small compressor, 7.5 horsepower. I think, I don't want to say the output. I don't want to say the wrong
Okay,
thing.
you answered my basic question. And then I just got one more question, and I didn't mean to take over the whole thing here. But
Great questions, Mitch.
you mentioned that, and I know how big these machines are. Once they're in, they're in. And you also mentioned that some work has to be done on the floor. And the
No,
work
not on this floor. This floor has already been done.
Okay.
Yes, Sam took care of that. back when we had an empty space, he had the flooring done. The only thing that we'll do once the machines are in is we do a perimeter, a safety perimeter in yellow paint. But that's once the machines are in.
Okay, and you have three, it looks like CNC machines arranged in kind of a semicircle near the
Those
lathe.
are manual mills.
Okay, why are they arranged in a semicircle?
Because when students are working side by side, there's an increase of risk of safety when they're side by side. So the recommendation is to have the machines on an angle. And we did that in Coventry. They did that in Davies. They've done it in North Kingstown. That is the recommendation so that kids are not working side by side and God forbid something flies off, it doesn't hit them, right? Because you have some you have some blockage the way the machines are.
Okay, that all makes perfect sense to me. I think you have a good plan here, and I'll
Good.
shut up now. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were great questions, and I'm sure other people were thinking of those, so I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks, Mitch, for all those questions.
you're welcome.
Ian?
Yeah, thank you. So this, a general question, maybe for the consultant, maybe for Susan or Sam. The machines around the outside, the perimeter, the ones you identified as robotics, those are robotics, the team robotics or the
Yes,
class? Okay.
yes.
So how is this going to relate to the field, the practice field
So
for
we
the
were,
robotics team?
we were able to put a practice field in for this year, but we knew that we needed the entire space for the machine shop. So that was something to get them in. One of the things we've suggested, because we've asked them, it could continue to be a shared space, but they would have less space and then they wouldn't have the field in that space. But we asked if they were thinking about getting a field. We've actually put in a grant. I've gotten 2 or 3 grants ready to go. One's going off tomorrow, to get a field house that will be a full-size field for the robotics team, and it can be stationed right outside of the wood shop, which they are using partially. And I've heard that it's hard to get back and forth. When I asked the coaches, they said they'd rather have the kids all together in one space instead of all throughout the high school. They were accustomed to being at Pleasant Valley and they had ample space because they had a whole school, but now they're in the high school and they have to have shared spaces because we have other programs in there. So we were talking on Friday about cleaning out the wood shop. And really, there's a couple pieces of equipment, like a welding machine in a wood shop that needs to go. And there's a sander in there. So looking to move those things out and clear out that space. It's about 2/3 the size of the current space that they have now. But then in addition, they would have a full field that's just steps outside the door. So it seemed that they were kind of very interested in that perspective, because they said the most important thing to both of them was to keep the kids consolidated. They have the aluminum Falcon closet right across from the wood shop. There's also a computer lab that's right down in that area as well, that they can do CAD design and other things down there. So it would keep them kind of centralized in a certain space
So the
instead of all over
proposal,
the school.
if I'm understanding that correctly, you're proposing that the robotics team move locations again?
Well,
to
they've already
fully
started
relocate
moving.
To,
Yep,
to the wood shop
yep.
and be 100% in the wood shop.
Well, they said it's not really conducive for them to share the space.
Right. I understand
So,
that.
but it was always meant to be the machine shop. And it, has the machining equipment and you really can't, that was always the intent. And the field was to get them started, and to have a space to do the field. I've checked around and there's no other full-size field except for WPI where they'll be this weekend. And to have something at Southeastern Connecticut is really awesome. I talked to the one of the chairs, one of the people who runs First Robotics today, and she's writing a letter on behalf of our grants to, you know, for the concept of having a full field. And very excited about the idea. I think there's one that she's trying to get in Waterbury, but nothing in this area, and they don't have it yet. So, you know, we've been, you know, in communication and will continue to be in communication because we really are working towards a plan with the coaches. And Dr. Clint Kennedy has been on board, and he's actually gotten some specs on this field house situation. And, you know, Sam has been involved and the coaches, and we're just working through the details. But I think the concern was that the team and the coaches would have to move everything. And I said that we would absolutely help support that endeavor, getting things put where they want. I did say their equipment can stay there in the machine shop, should they want it, but they kind of think they want to take the machines with them to the auto shop and have everything in that one space, and then the field right outside the door of the wood shop.
Why not? I mean, since the robotics team's already moved in to the auto shop area, or machine shop, right? Am I getting the terms right? This is the old auto shop now.
It was always intended to be the machine shop,
Okay.
and there's not enough room in
Plans are plans.
that
but
other space.
My
to do
question
the
is, like,
machine shop.
There's not enough space in the wood shop area to accommodate this minus
this
the
whole thing.
robotics machines. These
Yeah,
robotics
yeah.
machines would not go,
Right, right.
they say, just as a hypothetical, the manufacturing program went into the wood shop and revamped that place to make
The-
it suit their purposes.
My understanding, Lori, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this would not fit in there.
No, it would not fit. We didn't design this space. We didn't design the equipment based on the space in the wood shop. We designed it based on the space here because this is what we were always starting with.
And they wouldn't get a full field. They have a partial field. But in this plan where they have their closet, they'd have their CAD design area and their wood shop with a field house, it would all be in the same location. And the principal is concerned about the kids being kind of all over the school, and so are the coaches, that it requires lots of mentors and help support staff to monitor everything. They're great kids, but you know, for safety reasons, the tools that they're working with, we really have to have enough adults.
Can you describe what the field, like, is this like a freestanding building? Is it like a?
Clint, do you have a picture?
Stop sharing, I could give you an example.
Actually, before we
Yeah.
stop sharing, we still
Yeah,
have this.
still ask
blueprint.
more questions,
Right.
yeah.
But is Ian, are you done, Ian?
No, not exactly, but so you're proposing that as a trade-off in compensation for the robotics team having to move again within the 1 year of time, that they're going to get a full field access
Mhm.
as a result of this?
Yep.
And all their equipment will be able to be centralized into one location, adjacent rooms.
And that's what I asked them. I said, we could certainly share the space. I mean, it would be tight.
All right.
But I said, you know, what would be your, you know, and they talked about, they still do prototypes with wood. So there is some wood cutting and things that they could do down there and space, and they've got the whole filtration system for that. And we could separate the machines. It's big enough that we could separate metal and wood in that space. But they really said they wanted to be in one location. And that was our conversation Friday. We'll continue to have conversations. I've asked them for any questions that they have, any concerns that they have, so that we can all work through it.
I can't help but notice we have a couple robotics coaches here in the gallery. Is there any way to recognize them?
I don't want to start doing that. Mike?
Yeah, so I have another question, but I'll ask this one first now. So I think the Aluminum Falcons equipment that's kind of arranged around that corner, that L right now, you mentioned maybe 2 to 3 of those machines are for woodworking and the rest are for metal. So so am I hearing that this plan is now obsolete because the intent would be to move all of that L to the wood shop? Or are we saying something different?
Well,
Or
I'm
just
gonna,
one to the
I'm
wood?
gonna rely on the coaches to say what works best because they have to, they have to monitor the students and make sure the students are safe. And I know Chris is the one who works with them with these machines. And so, if it's more conducive to have everything in one space, then that's what we do. If he feels like he can handle it in this space and have them down the hall, I'm really gonna rely on their expertise on that because they could fit in here.
So it's like they've very literally been marginalized there in that floor plan.
Don't-
If they're going
can
to
I-
be picked out. But my other question is the Lumen Falcons, will they be able to use that big center donut there and the stuff off to the other side, or are they only on their equipment? Which I guess is in some ways the district's anyway, but will they be able to use the new machine for Lumen Falcon purposes?
I really believe that the kids who are in my Aluminum Falcons program are going to be some of those kids taking the courses next year. We had 55 students who asked to take a robotics class. I don't know their names, but I would assume, I know I've talked to a lot of them, that they are very interested in a robotics 1, 2, 3, and also a machine course. So it could be the same kids. I know that the robotics team though, however, has said that they really want their machines to be able to work on their project during their competition time solely. And so by getting more machines, that would allow us to be able to do the machine course by day. And then, for them to be able to work.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for many of those kids. I can see that overlapping interest. But I heard your answers, and I'm just asking this specific question. During, say, Aluminum Falcons practice, which are typically at night, would they be able to actively use the new machinery?
Are
That
they sharing the
maybe because-
machinery?
The new machinery,
Yeah.
would they, during
If-
their practice, be able to use the new machinery?
If they know how to use it, but they would have to get some training on that in order to know how to use it. I'm sure at some point they would be able to use it once they've been trained.
And I think one of the things that EB is also doing for us is they are educating our new teachers. So the teacher who comes in to teach machine shop, hopefully will find someone maybe retired from the Navy or EB that has some skills. But if they need to have a refresher or update, they're willing to pay the teacher during the day in the summer and have them go through the training during the summer. So that's another real bonus for Fitch.
Yeah, it is great, and I think it's really helpful for the career pathways. I'm just trying to keep the focus just for a moment on the Aluminum Falcons. And so is the intent or the hope for them to be able to use the new machinery during their practices that's outside of the school day?
I would say yes, as long as we had an adult who knew
Yeah.
how to run the machines and it was safe enough for
Oh,
the
for
kids.
sure,
Yeah.
and confident that would be
Yeah.
provision. So in that case, it seems to me that if they would be working the new machinery, that at least keeping their metalworking machinery tools in the same space here,
Mhm.
rather than splitting it up between because you'll have a split one way or the other.
Well, and I think that's why we kept that there, because that was
Yeah.
kind of the intent all along, to have that shared space in that way.
Yeah, and my one last question, how big is half a field for the Lumen Falcons and how high does the ceiling needed? And are there other places in the school, say the library or other places where you could fit a field? Yeah,
In the pit there.
I mean, I don't have a sense of how big the half field would be. I'm guessing like 20 by 20 feet.
So Lori, you have those dimensions, don't
Bigger
you?
than that, but
Or
Of
do-
what?
you'll
I
see the
can't
half
hear
field
him.
when we go down to the shop.
We're talking about the half-size field versus the full-size field. The dimensions, Clint, do you remember?
We.
I don't know the dimensions.
Basketball court.
This, I can tell you, I can tell,
Each year though.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the dimensions of this half where the field is now is 26 by 44. That's the size of that half of the room. And they probably have, I'm gonna guess, knowing how much space they have there, at least 38 by 18 anyway, 16. That's my guess of how much space they're using right now for that field. That's my guess.
And a full field would be double that.
And then that's probably roughly maybe from, I guess, only when the build's happening, so it'd be like, so would it be at least December through March or be even longer? So,
Yeah, it's really during their competition time when they're building it and testing it out and then trying it out. It's
But-
pretty exciting.
but they're probably training up students on last year's stuff, the new students on last year's stuff.
Yeah, they had some of their old machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they, when they got to work on it, they started using the new ones and
So it did have to be like dedicated kind of basically school year round space for the field.
you mean the field?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do some wonderful work too in the summertime with kids, like doing the camps. We envisioned you could do camps and, and do robotics in there too, so I mean, yeah, it's a pretty exciting kind of piece of space.
And I'll answer my own question. So it wouldn't fit in the library.
No,
It would fit, but the library wouldn't be.
I mean, could you take
You kind of laugh.
Could you take a gym space? I mean, that's what they had at Pleasant Valley. But the problem, we have a full-size gym and a smaller gym at this school. But, the teams don't get a choice of when they play or how they play. I mean, that's all scheduled. So whenever that gym is available and when the competition times, those get, shared. Those are all shared spaces. So.
I'm getting the sense that they want the field to be close to where they are,
Mhm.
because from what I could read from the email, it was test, rebuild or whatever, and retest, and so they don't want to like travel down the hallway and half a block to to the field. They want it to be pretty
Uphill
close.
both ways.
Well, the field isn't
Didn't
just an
get me
open
started.
space either. It actually, they build a perimeter, a
Yep,
plywood
space,
wall that's
yeah.
probably a couple of feet high.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't go haywire or.
Yeah, that's for safety again.
Again,
Mitch, and then Ian, and then you, Jen. Mitch had his hand up.
Okay, yes, I did. Thank you. Quick question. It may be pointless, but you have a lot of valuable equipment in here, and it looks as though there may at some point be a conflict of priorities and who's using what equipment. And I'm wondering if you need some kind of a memorandum of agreement between the robotics club and the people using the new equipment as to what the certifications are for the um, for what's needed for the instructors, when people would be using what equipment, things like that. Is that something necessary to spell it out up front so we don't have issues down the road?
Lori, how did you do it in Coventry?
We don't have anybody using the equipment other than the instructor who's been trained on it. We didn't have anybody asked to use the equipment. The robotics teacher is the machine teacher, so that, that was a moot point. And no one was allowed to use that equipment simply because they had not been trained. The instructor had been trained both by the equipment company, the representatives, and through Electric Boat. So I would say unless for sure people can use the equipment if they are trained on it. You may have someone in your building who's very knowledgeable about the equipment at Electric Boat and knows how to use it, but certainly they can't, someone who doesn't know how to use it cannot just use it.
Mostly for safety reasons too.
Of course,
Got
yeah.
kids working with you.
All for safety reasons, really. I mean, you
Yeah.
just can't use this, use this if you don't know how.
Nice. But that makes sense. Ian and then Jen.
Right, so, I'm kind of struggling with the situation here for a number of reasons. One, we only have this one blueprint of one option that is to like the merged version of robotics and manufacturing in the same space. Whereas it sounds like we're talking about a possibility about 3 different options. Whereas there could be the separate and equal type option where, you know, one operation is happening in the wood shop exclusively and the other operation is happening in this space. Therefore, that would be a different layout of the floor. Because
That is this
the-
layout. That is this layout. If they're in the wood shop and they're using these machines here, their machines in the metal shop, that's this layout.
That's not what I'm saying. Nope. What I heard was that there was a desire coming from the robotics team to have all their stuff in the same place, or at least adjacent rooms on the same wing of the building, so that their kids are not having to traipse back and forth, so they can make on-the-fly adjustments when they're working their practices, which makes sense to me. Having seen their previous locations and seen some of their work. So I don't see that, and two, like we're hearing this all through one particular filter. Which, you know, all things being what they are, there was a plan in place that the administration was working on to develop this program, and Ms. Ferguson, as a consultant, is hired to do that, to develop this plan for this space.
Right.
So that's a certain filter. What I would feel more comfortable with is hearing from the robotics team as well. It's sort of like, okay, so if the desire, if the administration is adamant about using this auto shop machine space for the manufacturing because of some previously, you know, established understandings, then I would like to see what the robotics team would do with the wood shop space and like how that layout would be. And
So
if that would be
what we're
conducive.
talking about, you're right.
But
We're
we don't
collaborating.
see that graphic here. We
Because-
don't see option B or option C.
Well, we're gonna get to
Um,
that. We're gonna continue to collaborate on that.
So, I mean, and so I feel like this meeting is a little, you know, lopsided because I'm not hearing direct from the robotics team as far as like what their needs are, what their, you know, best case scenario and acceptable compromise type scenarios are. Or, you know, if there is going to be wood shop usage, then like how can we make that as least impactful on them? You know, because they've already suffered a great deal over the past year due to the issues that we experienced with getting them transitioned from Pleasant Valley to
Well,
Fit-
they had, like I said, they had Pleasant Valley for over a decade, I think. And the town, we always knew it was the town's property and it was gonna get sold, but it was the idea of this board and administration to bring them back to Fitch High School, and I'm very glad we did. It was a lot of hard work for the team here and Sam's team, and also for the robotics team and parents and kids.
and to
but-
my understanding, like that, and just logistically, like as we went through that process, they that the move-in got delayed, and it did push back the beginning of the season, push back a lot of the preseason work. So like the team has already been impacted by the challenges of moving and relocating and reestablishing a space. And you know that's a traumatic event for a team, you know, in the sense that, you know, it involves a lot of, it's a disruption, right? So I'm concerned because again, like, you know, we have this thing coming in that, you know, has been kind of gestating for quite some time, but now it's coming to fruition and now it's coming to a head again, you know, because of the long-term planning here.
So you
So-
can see all the people who've been on the steering
Yes.
committee for a solid year.
What,
But
can I
what
just say
my
something?
point-
I think that the real question is, are we all in for the manufacturing center? And if so, it has to go into the auto shop. And that's, I don't know how else it's gonna work. And then the robotics team's gonna have to go to the wood shop. I mean, do we want the manufacturing center? I mean, you have to say to yourself, yes, I want it. No, I don't want it.
And what's best for our
Um,
students here at Fitch High School, all 1,000 of them, you know, and the robotic
right.
team.
So it's a
Because-
choice without a choice.
Yeah, yeah,
So basically, that's what we're being asked to do here, is like, we're managing the outcomes.
Mm.
We're not being given a choice necessarily, we're just managing the outcomes.
because I think what happened was when we didn't plan well, not me, myself, because I don't do the planning.
Mhm.
When we knew Pleasant Valley was closing, then the robotics team had to find a home. So we brought them back. We couldn't go to Mary Morrison. SB Butler was definitely out. So what are we gonna do with them? We're gonna bring them back, but we always knew that the auto shop was gonna be the site for the manufacturing center. Now, then we thought, okay, maybe the manufacturing center and the robotics team could be in the same site. Now I'm hearing that they can't be in the same site. The robotics team saying, no, we can't share the space. Now, so the question is, do you want the manufacturing center? That EB is investing in our community. Kids can get jobs. Already Hill House, they had 50 kids that got hired by EB, making good money, gonna bring the kids can hopefully live in our community, and we can hopefully close that financial gap that we have in this community by these kids working at EB. Or do we want to say, nope, we don't want that? We want the robotics team to stay in that auto shop and screw the manufacturing center because they can't fit in the wood shop. Excuse the language. But that's what it boils down to me. I mean, if anybody else says anything else, let's hear it. Jen, let's hear you. Which say you?
That's what I've been saying, like, for the past, like, this is like a, okay, first, I'm gonna make this very clear before I get started. It's pretty much ditto everything Beverly said, but I've been saying it all up. It was poor planning from day one. Just let's accept that fact, right? We knew robotics was in Pleasant Valley. We knew they had to get out. We never made a plan for where they should have gone, and haphazardly they moved themselves here back to the high school, you know, and Sam's team helped, right? But it's like all of those delays happened because it was poor planning. Paint, floor, whatever it may be. That's water under the bridge. The team is here now, and we're asking them to move again. And it looks like we came up with a compromise to that site on the side of the gym. When Jay and I first saw that site, we thought it was a great site, like even before they moved in to the auto body shop. However, I still want to see what the field would look like. Because if the robotics team is saying that all of their equipment's going to fit in there, it's segregation. You know, like you don't want, being an only child, I don't want people touching my stuff. So
Especially if it's expensive.
especially if it's expensive and then it's broken and you're just like, you know, I'm not even gonna swear, but so as long as they have that consolidated spot, this time we as a district need to be, if they're gonna move, we need to be fully committed to helping them move. Not them packing, not the parents packing. We need to help them move. It can't be on the backs of the parents doing it during the summertime, giving up their time. So if they're moving, we need to support them. And I really do want to see what that field looks like so that they can have whatever it takes to run that program. If they move out all of their equipment, this is ample opportunity for more equipment here. A little concerned though, because it's like student capacity is 18. If it's 55, are you planning on running 3 classes? So this manufacturing center, oh, full disclosure, I work for EB. I am not part of the grants committee, but it is, this is, if you're a student who college is not for you and you're a hands-on person, college is not for everyone. It's somewhere in the 80s and 90s that we started driving people to go to college, whether they wanted to, you know, more of the, so it's good to see that manufacturing is coming back to this country. And if we as a district can support that, it is giving students the opportunity to get jobs. that can be career defining, from high school to like when they retire. It's public knowledge. You could read it in the paper. EB's planning on hiring like around 2,200 in Connecticut, 8,000 overall, for this year. Um, you know, the product that they're building is in demand by the consumer. So most companies need to look for their sales. And here we have sales coming down our throat. We need the students. We need to train, whether it's students or adults, changing careers, whatever it may be. All I know, it's good for Groton. It's good for students who will be able to make, a decent living, to be able to support their family, at a basic high school education. That's very hard to come by. So as far as a manufacturing center, totally support it. We need to make this happen, but we can't abandon our team that has been part of this district for
Absolutely.
19 years, going on 20. So that's all I have to say about the thing. And we just need to do a better job planning. You guys know I like planning.
Yeah, and I support what you're saying too, Ian, that we have to find them a home with it. This is their last move, wherever they're gonna go to, and we're gonna help them. They not have to do a darn thing. We're gonna do all the work. I'd like to see that in writing, actually, that we will do all the work.
There is some organizing that they may want to do. Like they really, some of their equipment's very precious to them and they want to make sure it's.
But it's their choice. The
Yeah.
things that they
Right,
don't
right.
want to move,
Then,
Right.
we handle.
Ian and then Andrea.
And to that end, I would like to see it in writing, and I'd like to see the timeline set by the robotics team, so that the robotics team's needs are met, so that they do not lose their preseason time.
Oh,
Okay.
in September.
Exactly.
Right,
And they also, like, they're still competing now,
Right,
so like there's gonna be a thin window
right. to
in
get
which,
them
like,
moved.
one season ends and they gotta move
Right,
to get ready for the next season
Yeah.
to be established.
Yeah, we want them to be settled in September.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm with that too.
Yes.
Yeah, up and running.
Oh, can we see the field?
Well, wait, let me get Dr. A. Andrea and then Clint, can you show us the field?
Yeah, I got a
Let
question.
Dr. A and then Clint and then you, Adrian. Okay. Go ahead, Dr. A.
Thank you, Beverly. I'm in a total agreement with that. We need to prioritize the EB program. The Robotics Club, as wonderful as it is a club. And this is not Fitch Robotics High School. This is Fitch Senior High School for all the students. And should be our priority. I don't know of any other club that gets the attention that this one does. What if the dance club decided, if there were one, what if the dance club decided that they needed special treatment? No other club gets this. And I understand the importance of it. However, the community program needs to have priority. And if I have thought about this and I've put some of my thoughts in writing, and I'd be happy to send it to board members to read and just share my thoughts. But that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Dr. A. Who will explain this? You, Clint?
Clint, this is Clint. Field of Dreams.
No,
So-
it can't be Field of Dreams. It has to be Field of Reality.
It needs to be reality.
Yeah, don't mix dreaming with.
So this is the initial proposal. We don't have engineering drawings and so forth. We haven't paid for that and so forth, but these are the types, this is actually a specific school. You can see the athletic facility behind it. And the idea that we shared with the robotics team was a building much similar to this, with it spec'd out to the appropriate, width, height, and length, so that we can fit a full field in there. In addition to adequate space around the perimeter for competition needs, movement needs, et cetera, et cetera. The idea is that this would be placed outside the rolling garage doors outside of the wood shop. And this would also have a rolling open wide door so that we can move any robot from wood shop into this. How close we can get to the building, that's above my pay grade. You know, is it 10 yards? Is it abutted against the building? I'd love to have an answer for that. I don't.
We need an architect. for
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And the fire marshal.
And a fire
And a fire
marshal.
marshal.
But this would have HVAC and lighting and power and net data and so forth for this. This particular one is a athletic facility. You can see cardio machines in the corner and so forth. And there's choices as far as, you know, windows and other pieces to this. So again, above my pay grade. But the idea that we can fit a full field dedicated to robotics competitions here that can be the main competitive space for our team, but also something that we could potentially offer up, obviously with a process so that other teams in Southeastern Connecticut could come as scheduled as needed. I believe that's something that the robotics team has done in the past. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
But it puts us at the center. I don't believe anyone else has a full-size field. I think a lot of schools don't have a half-size field. This was an attempt to, again, pull everything into one place, provide adequate competitive space year-round. This building is built, these buildings are built for, you know, year-round inhabitants. Obviously, there are particulars that, you know, hurricane zone, we're in New England with snow, et cetera. But as we've talked to the engineers of this particular one, obviously we can't just pick this. There's got to be a process of selecting a vendor and so forth. But this seemed to be the most doable, within a reasonable budget, adequate space that would work for this type of activity.
And how long would all this take?
Tomorrow, it'll be all set.
Oh,
No.
great.
The group
This
that I
is-
spoke to said they plan on about 6 weeks of engineering work to do, and then they hand off to local competitive bid folks that can do this. They've had projects run anywhere from 2 to 5 months after that.
Cause it looks like you have to prepare the ground.
Yeah,
and
there would be
everything.
a concrete slab that's underneath it, so forth.
So it's a possibility that this may not happen by September or,
I don't control that.
okay. Sam, do you have any idea?
Well, the goal would be to have it in the fall, but I don't know that, you know, it would all depend upon when the plans could get done. We could go out to bid for it.
They're not usually driving the robot in the fall. They do have some times when they bring people in to get kids excited. We got a whole new 8th grade class coming in that'll be 9th graders, and we'll definitely want to, you know, get them involved. So, you know, by the time they're really getting that robot moving is like during that competition time. But we would love to get it done in the fall.
So if this didn't happen in the fall, where would the field be in the meantime?
Well, we've thought about gym space and trying to secure gym space when they needed it, the cafeteria when they needed it. And you know, those are both spots that are close to where they are. But I think it's more of, that time is more when they're showcasing their robots and what they do. So other kids get excited about it and want to join the club.
Adrian, then Mike, and then Mitch.
I'll jump in after Mitch.
Okay.
All right. So I wanted to say, look, if we go to the machine shop, I think that this is core instruction. This is very important for all students. So I totally agree with that. And although this looks great, I'm guessing by the time you put a building big enough for what we're talking about in New England, get it through code, dig down for a foundation, so don't have to worry about freezing underneath it and all that. We're probably into 7 figures or something, a big number. So,
That's not
I
the
mean-
initial quote, forgive me, but that's not the initial quote we
What-
got. For something like this space to our needs, again, without the concrete pad, I don't know what that would cost. We're talking $130,000, $140,000 for the building.
Yeah, but that, I mean, I.
Again, just one
know
quote I got,
People that
which
put
is-
up small like metal buildings and
Yep.
they cost a lot. So,
Sure.
so yeah, we don't have to talk about numbers now, but to me, I see this like site work's very expensive. Slabs are very expensive, electrical is very expensive, and I'm guessing a lot of that isn't included, but, But I just, I mean, I think if we're talking about, and I believe that space right now is used by, marching band, correct? Like out there?
Not, there's several different spaces that are right back there that we were looking at, not just, and they don't use the whole space.
Yeah, and this would not take up whole space, but you're right.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
quite a
but
few
the-
different.
But there
groups
is,
that
we're
are
limited
there
for
other things.
flat area up there.
Mhm.
You know, the marching band can, maybe there's other solutions to some of that, but I see this, if we're looking at this, then we should just look at, I mean, you know, not that I want to bring up Butler, but do we know that Butler can't work as a permanent home? Like, talk to the town, use part of the building, and do we know that? Because I think we were talking about this last year. And, you know, I also think that, you know, we can't build an entire school for robotics, you know, like,
Yeah,
I mean, it is, you know, we have to do as much as we can for them, but,
I don't
it's
want them in
just,
that same situation.
it's
where we
unrealistic.
Have to, you know.
It's unrealistic to have a whole, like, a whole, you know, like a whole building for them. And not that, not this building, but a, you know, a larger, with the machine shop and all that. So I would like to hear more about this, but it just seems unrealistic, that that would happen for next year. So it seems to me that robotics would be, you know, being, you know, if we approve the machine shop, we're basically limiting robotics for at least a year and maybe a lot more.
Well, according to the person I talked to at First Robotic, she is actually working with Waterbury and will give me the specs to what they have created and says that it's, you know, a project she would like to see, and she's got funds to also contribute across the state, and she would love for Southeastern Connecticut, and I'm the first one to call her. So,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
not
this is
promising
great.
it, but
I think this could be great. It's just it's complicated to put up a permanent building, I think.
Non-trivial, sure.
And so I would just be, so if we're talking about this then maybe we should just talk about, like, is there warehouse space that we could rent? Where we rented a whole bunch of bays, and, you know, that's not, I mean, there's warehouse space like a mile away. Like, do they have warehouse space that we could rent, and would that be,
For 1 year, you're saying.
or a couple of years, and where that would be, you know, more realistic option?
I just feel safer having our kids at a high school with the proper supervision. We know what, you know, at Pleasant Valley, and before really my parent booster club kind of took over, I had concerns.
Yeah, but how would we pay for this?
So there is a $50,000 grant from T-Mobile. There's another $50,000 grant through this First Robotics. And then I was just given one from Kate Erickson, that she said she would help me with another $50,000 grants.
Yeah, I'd be curious, to hear from a construction standpoint, maybe, you know, to talk to a local builder that's put up similar buildings and see what that costs around here.
So we think,
Um,
you're
I
thinking
mean,
about
I-
plan B, because if this doesn't
Well,
work, what's our plan B?
I can talk to Sam about somebody that I know that put up a commercial building, metal building with heat and stuff that's not very finished out, and what that cost and how big it is, and, you know, and I know the builder, so there might be a way to get, just some, you know, realistic idea of what things will cost.
That would be helpful. Thank
But,
you.
to take a step back, then we still need to, you know, since, you know, $200,000 is a lot of money, but I have a really hard time thinking that we can get another building for $200,000. We would have to go for a CIP, right? So that would be at least
Another year.
another year in the process. So, so I just want to be realistic. I mean, if our decision is realistically, like, we're putting in a machine shop and robotics, we're gonna do as best we can, but they're gonna lose a field, then I don't like that decision. But let's just put the cards on the table, and what is the decision that we're making?
But what would plan B be? That's, you're talking about the gym, some other place.
Well, that's what they did when they were here before. They, you know, they drove the robot in the flag hallway, and they had it down in the gym sometimes and in the cafeteria. But, you know, I would like to get them this field. I mean, I think this is the ultimate decision, that if we could really do that with the wood shop location, that would be an ideal for them.
Okay, Mike and
So-
then Mitch,
Thank you.
and then Ian and you, Jen, okay? Unless they want to do ladies before gents.
No, we're good. I already spoke once.
So a firm believer in
And
equality.
Please.
So, so thank you, and thank for, like, this is finding creative solutions, right? And looking for ways to make things happen, which I applaud, along with the grants, winning capabilities of school district are absolutely wonderful. And so, the mention of CIP, I'd be worried about that, just because of CIP, not just the delay that happens, but it's sort of goes through a gauntlet of at least 4 different levels, like within the school system, whether or not that's something we want to put it ahead with all the other priorities. Regardless of the funding source, like even if there's grants, you still need CIP. Then it goes to the town manager, who can or cannot decide to put it forward to the town council, and the town council, then the RTM. So that's 4 levels. I mean, it's not insurmountable, but it's not guaranteed either. So I'd say that we have to vote. We can't vote. We're not voting tonight on this, obviously, but when we vote on the manufacturing center, that comes very soon. And when I vote on that, I'd like to have a feasible short-term plan for the aluminum Falcons that we're voting on in concert. Like, for me personally, having seen that footprint of that L there for the aluminum Falcons machines, if they don't ultimately want it there, then that's fine, that's up to them, but that kind of be reserved space for them. You know, the wood shop that we're gonna look at, like that would be part of this, at least sketched out to some level. And then something without a new building that's a feasible, at least a half-field solution for next year and maybe the year after. So those are elements I'd like to see when voting on the manufacturing center, which has to happen soon. And then my one last question is, where exactly would that building go? Like, if we looked at a top-down view, Google Maps of the
Actually,
school.
I was just doing that with Clint.
Because I'm a little concerned it's where the athletic task force decided will be a good place for a softball field.
That's right, same place.
Yeah. So they
But
just have
that
to
is
go around
part
it.
of the point.
No, I thought they.
It's like
just
Fenway, you gotta
feel
put
bad.
on
They
Monster.
did.
Classification,
Wasn't approved.
That was not approved.
But it is in the same spot. We can fit all 3 there.
Right.
So it is in that, so it'd be good to bring that up, I guess, while we're here, to kind of, for people watching, to see
Right, Clint, can
where
you
you're
follow up
thinking
on that?
of.
Yeah, it was not part of the referendum.
It's not part of the referendum, so it's not part of it, deal.
Oh, it wasn't part of the recent referendum, I know that, but
Yes.
there's several phases. But that's fine, so now I know where it is, but I was wondering if you could bring up just Google Maps and
We
Point
can
to-
take a tour. The garage doors that lead out the back of the wood
Yeah.
shop are right.
You can see it.
yeah, I've driven around this school system circuit
I bet you
more
have.
than Magellan, but I have never noticed the rolling doors, so I was wondering, while we're still online, it's just show
It's
a top
adjacent
down
to the
view.
greenhouse too.
Can you show a top-down view, Clint?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you all set, Mike?
Yeah,
Okay, let me go to Mitch. Mitch?
I think so. It's good to put it up.
Okay, thank you. First off, I just wanted to say, I thought most of what I wanted to say was very eloquently put by Dr. Ackerman and also by Adrian. And I think what's been put in front of us is a really good plan. And I think, it's certain things are maybe unfortunate right now relative to the robotics club, but we've got kind of a compromise on the table. It sounds like it's a work in progress, and I think we need to stay focused on what we're voting on here, which is this, what I'm going to call machine shop. And we'll tell the robotics people we're working on something else, and we'll get back to them. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
This is the shop right here. There's a garage door right here. You'll see a big, large rolling metal door right here. And these are containers that can be moved. And the idea was to put it here so that they're wheeling robot from construction to facility right there.
Would it take up much of that field? Seems like
It would
not.
be, it would take a proportion of
Fair
it.
amount.
But again, final dimensions, I would want to be working with our robotics team. But we were, the first look at this one, we're looking at a full-size gymnasium floor with adequate space around it.
And that's where gym class uses that a lot, that field?
I don't know if they use it.
I think they
A
go out
lot.
there
They go
occasionally,
baseball.
throw bases down to play softball or something, or something.
We
Like
would not take
football.
up that type of space certain time.
But it wouldn't be, probably wouldn't be used by band anymore for a practice. You'd have to go down to the practice field at the football field or something like that, I think, around the
With
field.
the new football field if possible.
Or on the artificial field next door somewhere.
Yeah.
Ian?
Yeah, so, from what I understand, Clint's saying is 6 weeks to get an engineering plan for that outside facility. And the turnaround time from construction, say like somehow that
Yeah.
got all approved and
This
like,
is way above my pay grade,
Right.
obviously, because we didn't talk about concrete slab and so we were getting rough estimates.
Well, we could find out. Those are good questions to ask.
But like Adrian said, realistically, it may not
it's
happen.
not, yeah, plus
So we
it's,
might have to find a plan B for them to practice.
and for that, like I'd want them at the table. You know, I'm not comfortable talking as much as we have without them at the table and part of this. I understand the concerns about curriculum, I understand the concerns about overall programming, but you know, back to planning, like, you know, we have to get better about that. So I will be the stick in the mud on that. And, you know, we owe it to that team. 20 years, they've done high caliber stuff. And it has translated, not officially through a pipeline, but I know a number of students have gone through that and have, you know, gotten traction in fields related to that. So, and it's the closest thing we had to any sort of high-end manufacturing or high-end tech work. That's the closest thing we had in the school for 20 years. So, we should honor that. You know, it sends a terrible message for us to just go chasing the money on one side and abandon the core, you know, project. And I know I'm
I think
speaking
to abandon
a
them.
little bit of hyperbolic language. Forgive that. But it comes from a sense of frustration.
Yeah.
Well,
That, you
I
know,
understand.
as we've emphasized
I
tonight,
understand.
the choice is there is no choice.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, I feel, you know, a little bit, you know, hoodwinked in that regard, that like I thought, you know, we had more malleability in what was gonna be the outcome. But,
Well, this is a shared space and really it's the principal and the athletic director who work on making sure that people get what they need in the shared space, but they don't all come to the table. They often are given, you know, you can practice in this gym on this day, you can practice on this day. So it's really up to administration to be able to, you know, help orchestrate all of this in the shared space so that all kids get what
Okay.
they need.
Let's do this, Jen, Dr. A, and then let's go and look at the space.
Maybe Susan, you can tell us what the small gym is used for, and maybe we could cut the small gym in half, and that's a commitment for a year until that's either built or whatever the solution is.
I would have to talk to Mark Romano because he does all the scheduling for even the auditorium. So he does all the scheduling for this space. So I can certainly ask that question.
Like if we could just cut it in half and know that half the small gym for next year will be out of commission.
Because
That's a
other
good-
people might have to sacrifice too. The robotics team has to sacrifice.
Yep.
Then maybe some other people have to sacrifice.
That's the winter season. That gym is heavily used.
Oh, it is.
They
Oh
are.
my goodness.
Okay, yeah, no.
or
And then even Groton
that-
Middle School is used.
Wrestling.
the fencing,
Wrestling, basketball.
They're,
fencing,
they're in the.
For the small gym,
They're in the
basketball.
or is that this?
Oh my goodness, it's like wrestling, cheerleading, then I don't know what happens after, cause I leave the building.
So I'll stretch
It is
that.
a very
Okay,
busy,
forget it.
it is a very busy school.
Okay, Dr. A, and then we'll go down and take a look. Dr. A?
Yes, thank you. And I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about, help me understand what the robotics club has to do with graduation requirements. What it has to do with courses for credit. We're talking about building a building for a club. Talk about setting a precedence. Talk about taxpayer burdens. When we get courses for robotics, that's another discussion that will address these things. Right now, we're talking about taxpayer dollars for a club. Okay, that's it.
Good point. Mike,
Well, we're spending a lot on a multi-use field that used to be just for a football team.
Okay.
So, and the amount of money spent per student athlete is, I think, well spent, but not a small amount. So,
all right,
For 3 sports.
Ready?
It's line for 3. I know.
you know what, since we have them online, because I don't know if they'll be here when we come back. I just want to have a consensus on moving the vote for the machine shop at the next regular board meeting, which would be April 27th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So are you in favor of putting it on the agenda for April 27th to vote? Okay, Jen? Adrian?
I will qualify the, yes, I don't have enough information to vote.
Okay, well, Mike wants
That'll
the
give us more time.
information.
I think we should definitely put it on because we can always postpone the vote.
And with that, and with your questions, we can also get some answers.
Ian?
No.
No. Dr. A?
Yes. Are you asking for when we vote? Yes.
Yes, okay. Are you in favor of putting it on the April 27th regular board meeting agenda to vote on approving the manufacturing center?
Yes.
Okay. Mitch?
I'm in favor.
Okay. All right, we are going to look at the auto shop and the wood shop now, so I don't know if you guys are gonna stay online,
Lori.
but if not, we'll see you later.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay,
you,
thank you,
Lori, for all your
Lori.
hard work.
You want us to keep this live, so you come back and gavel out, or you gaveling out?
Beverly, you're coming back, right?
Yeah, we're gonna come back and gavel out.
What do you
Okay,
think?
so
20 minutes?
I don't know. That's all it takes us
I
to
think so.
move around. 8:11. Okay, it's 8:11 and we're back from our tour of the wood shop and the auto shop. And do I have a motion for adjournment? Dr. A? It's 8:11. You want to adjourn us?
motion to adjourn.
Thank you. 8:11. Do I have a second? Jen, all those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-0. We are now adjourned.